Hello guys, it's James and we're here for the footy bets for round 15. I am going to absolutely whiz through this at the start because one, I recorded this with Jono and he's going to hate me. I recorded this back in Brisbane, so the footage of the review is actually on my home computer, not my laptop. So our review is, I don't know, not lost, but I just can't upload it. And then two, I'm just down at my mum's and we're about to go out for lunch and stuff, so I'm going to try and absolutely just pump this out. So we're just going to blitz through the reviews. I've got my bets, but this will be probably the shortest video I've ever done for this one. So just to get that context out of the way, but otherwise it was a great round for round 14. We had a bunch of players who missed, but when you look at the missed thing, three of those six players are actually from game two. So that Hawthorn Adelaide game, Jono and I talked about it, but yeah, sorry about not having the footage. Yeah, a lot of players underperformed. It was cold, it was wet, it was low scoring. Yeah, so that one was the outlier. Otherwise, then Bont got tagged, and the tag was not dropped, even though Bulldogs were up by 50 points, and the game was like done and dusted. Ross Lyon was stubborn, left Windhager on Bont, so that one was very unlucky. Oh, yeah, I'll talk about this game. West, Windhager, Riley West kicked the goal, I think, in the fourth. I thought that one was going to be a lot easier than it turned out to be, but Bailey Williams looked amazing. Wanganeen Miller has only missed once this year by one posse. Cal Wilkie was fantastic, and it was great because he didn't have to play on Sam Darcy. And yeah, Bont, I thought for sure that tag was going to Ed Richards. Doggy's only played Saints not that long ago, and it was when Bont had his first game, and he kicked oh no, he didn't. He had a first good debut game for the year. But yeah, I just wasn't thinking Windhager was going to go to Bont. Even if he did, I thought 20 should be easy for him. But yeah, he just could not break that. Windhager played amazing, and yeah, super unlucky about that one. Anyway, yeah, we're going to whiz through. This was the game that was just an absolute stinker. Hawthorn versus Adelaide. Not just for the bet, but the game was like, oh god, that was painful to watch. It was a close game. That was the only saving grace for it. But so low scoring, just a bit sloppy. And yeah, Worrell's been fantastic. Rochelle, Amon, Morrison, I'm all actually keen to bounce back. I know a lot of people are getting a bit disgruntled by Carl Amon. I might be just having a little break from him just because Jarman Impey is just absolutely flourishing, popping off in that role. He looks to be the real run and carry from the back line there. So yeah. Amon in that first half, I'm pretty sure, only had one legit posse, and that was he got a free kick and he played advantage. There was an out of bounds on the full and kick outs. Otherwise, apart from that, he only got one legitimate free kick. So one legitimate disposal. So worrying signs there. Morrison, yeah, just unlucky on the wing there in a cold, shitty game. And Rochelle, Adelaide, I don't know, their kick, it was 44 points. I don't know how many goals that is, but yeah, not many. So not a good one for goal scorers. I'm pretty sure Tex and Riley Thilthorpe missed as well. So yeah, can't hate him for that. I'm just gonna stop the recording, just make sure we can hear my audio okay. Okay, so you can hear me, and just the audio is obviously a little bit shit. I'm using the laptop audio. I don't have my mic with me while I'm down here, so yeah, as long as you guys can hear me and stuff, this will unfortunately just have to be the case for this week. The Brisbane Lions GWS game, I was super annoyed about this one. I can't believe I didn't think of, because Starcevic being back meant Fletcher goes to the wing. I knew Fletcher was a risk, but then it meant Levi Ashcroft played 50% wing, 50% half forward, and then so he was a chance not to hit. I'm recording this after the Geelong game, but yeah, so he hit after that, so it might be something to... I think he could be fine. I just think against the Giants there, Brisbane didn't play that great. Yeah, I don't want to write off just yet, but I just want to see if he can still hit when he's not playing majority of the wing. Plus, Bruce Reville was back. He was the late sub for Darcy Gardner. He didn't play, so yeah. Anyway, the point is, I just don't want to write off Levi just yet, especially after a good game. He's allowed to have one bad game, first-year player, so otherwise everyone else there was fantastic. Again, apologies for moving super quick. Sean Manor, holy heck. Missing by one posse in a game where Geelong belt Essendon by 100 points as your half-forward rotating mid player. That was crazy to me. And then after, again, I'm just recording this after the Geelong-Brisbane game. Let's go Lions. Yeah, he had 10 posies or something to finish the game. He was on one for over a quarter. So Sean Mount is someone I'm definitely going to have to reassess. But yeah, again, we'll talk about the Geelong-Brisbane players in the next video. Everyone here was fantastic. Will Setterfield was on Bailey Smith doing a half tagging job. Got a lot of his own footy. Bailey Smith popped off. And Dersma. This is crazy. Dersma did his hammy in the game on Thursday night. Brian Myers missed. Bailey Smith missed the 30 posies. Sean Manor missed. I think Will Setterfield hit. That's crazy. Everyone in that bet like goes to. Everyone but one misses the week after. Anyway, the power of hindsight. So going to game 5, which was North versus Freo. This one was fantastic, and this is where we finally got the ball rolling for the week. This is where we won for Saturday night. And just you'll know, I emphasize this in every video. Every bet you should do should be covered. You can see this one here. It's got the same game multi-cover thing, and this bet before, this one also has the same game. So you should take the bonus bet and then put it exactly on this one. Now I was actually out on Saturday, so I missed this. But yeah, this leg hit, nothing much to say here. So when I put it on the Sunday, so even the same goes for you guys. If you can't put the bonus bet on the next game or whatever, just do it on the game after that. So my bonus bet then went on to the Port Melbourne game, the first game of the Sunday. That's where I had time to do it. So yeah, thankfully that one hit. And this one was fantastic. I just wanted to quickly say Gawn had an amazing last quarter. So Gawn was on like, he was on like 13 going into the last. Not out of his reach, but definitely challenging for a ruckman to get like 7. But I was confident on him because he's versing Vesentini and like Sweets. So he popped off. They actually took a disposal off him at halftime, which made it even more challenging. So, I mean, when I say off him, he probably never had it to begin with. They just accidentally gave him an extra one. But yeah, Max Gawn, huge last quarter. Last game for the round. We had another win, and I was very happy with Ryan Marrick hitting 15. He seems to hit him when he's on the wing. Doesn't matter if he's not in his half-back role, because we can get him for the same price at his half-back role in the 15 posi bracket when he's on the wing role. So it's great how he's already dropped down a bracket. Everyone else seemed to hit and was fine. Hewitt, I think most of these players hit like before the last quarter. Chera had 1 going into the last. Ryan Marrick had 2, and he kicked 1 from the goal square when McCarthy was off. So, by the way, he's huge. I wonder what he's paying for next week. Yeah, anyway, this game hit. Let's get on to the actual bets. So, let me swap over. Here we go. Now, I just need to open up my Excel. Yeah, which is here. Oops, that's the last game. Let me go to... I'm going to quickly rush through this. Carlton North. Oh, yeah, because we did the Geelong-Brisbane game. Oh, I can't believe Dangerfield didn't kick that goal, and he's... Anyway, so actually, I can't read my bets. It's too small on the screen. We have Dylan Stevens, Ollie Hollands, Adam Sard, Adam Chera, Caleb Daniel, George Hewitt. So this one is kind of, again, I don't usually like going for this many legs, but when we have all of them who are like 9 out of 10, Dylan Stevens being 10 out of 10, I think it's actually fairly safe. And look, you got Ollie Hollands missing by 1, Adam Sard missing by 1. Chera, he had a miss when he went into the back line. Caleb Daniel. So Caleb Daniel, he's still hitting despite Colby McKercher coming back and now flourishing in that half-back role. So I think $1.22 for Caleb Daniel is actually great value. And the reason I say that, because Caleb Daniel is in the North Melbourne side for one reason, and that's his kicking accuracy, his great distribution, finding a target. He's not there as obviously to defend and spoil in marking contests. He's there to kick out and switch the play, hit up a target. So if he's not doing that, then that doesn't have a role on the side. So if he keeps getting named, you're expecting him to get 20. George Hewitt has had that 1 miss. That was against GWS when Carlton got pantsed in Toby Green's 250th or something. But yeah, otherwise, I really like Hewitt. Popped off against West Coast. I feel like he'll do something similar for, against North. Anyway, yeah, moving on to the 15 posi bracket. All these guys here are great, just short value. Jai Simpkin, that's his first miss for the year, and he's gone to $1.18 for 15 posies. Very tempting. So, you know, being the captain and all, you shouldn't be getting like 11 posies when you're a rotating mid slash, you know, like half forward slash wing, whatever the heck he's been playing at the moment. But yeah, I know there's a lot of mids in the north side at the moment, so it's hard for him to get the footy, but like, yeah, 11 posies. So I really think Jai Simpkin should bounce back. Dylan Stevens, who I called last week, was huge, but unfortunately lost a lot of his value. But I'm still very bullish on him. And when I think about it, I love taking like Jared Berry, Connor Iden. They're usually anywhere between $1.15 and $1.20. It actually really helps when you're just trying to get the leg to anywhere between $3 and $4. If we take Dylan Stevens out, the bet is at about $3. So yeah, it's up to you if you want that extra layer of risk. But some players I just see as certainties at the moment. Oh, I haven't done any of the locks for this week. Apologies. Might not have time. But yeah, I was hoping to get this done by 11. Anyway, so we're going to fly through. Cherry came off a miss. Unfortunately, got no posies in that last quarter. That was insane. Ollie Hollands, who I mentioned, him and Sard both missed by one posie. I think they'll be fine off the back line, even versus North. North have a great midfield, and the thing is, don't ever worry about your backmen when they're versing a bottom team, if they're versing a bottom team with a good mid. So North not being great, they'll probably put in a good show, but they're going to get a lot of inside 50s. Their mid are fine, so it should leave Sard and Hollands to do their thing. Tom de Koning, he is a great value. So yes, he's had 2 misses this year, and his worst miss was 11 posies, and that was against North, because Carlton are versing North and West Coast twice already, which is baffling. But yeah, I think Tom de Koning, he's in great form. I think he could easily bounce back, even though it's against Cherry, who's arguably one of the best rucks in the comp at the moment. Or, behind Gorn, he's popping off. And Silvani, so I've highlighted him, but he's $1.90, and I'm very close, but you can see he just missed in the West Coast game. His role is not really to, distribute the ball. He's getting that from beating his opponent in marking contests, like occasionally switching it and stuff. But yeah, I'd much rather go Hollands or Sard, who are just going to run and carry. But Silvani, very tempting for that price, $1.90. I did say I was going to jump on him after a miss, so because that's the thing, right? So he's $1.90. If I include him, this whole bet changes. I would almost do Silvani and then like Sard and Hollands, or you know what I mean? Just I wouldn't be including all these, and it's like, who do I exclude? I really like them all, or I do Tom de Koning and Silvani, and anyway, I kind of like the structure as it is. Colby McKercher, yeah, absolutely popping off, but I just think for that price, I would much rather go a Dylan Stevens, who's just seemed to be a lot more secure lately, rather than someone who's just flourishing in his role change, even though this is what he used to play. Caleb Daniel, $1.22, fantastic. Tom Powell, Luke Parker, I was more bullish on at the start of the year, but they're still hitting, even though Wardlaw's back, but just that confidence isn't there. And Sam Doherty, now he's back in halfback, seems to be just hitting 20s most weeks, but yeah, I don't know, just something about the old boys I'm not like super confident in, but hard to argue his recent form. 25, George Hewitt and Harry Sheasel. Harry Sheasel is now getting a lot more of the footy, that his CBA minutes have increased. He's off. He was down in half back for a while. He was still hitting when he was getting kickouts. Then he did a bit of a half forward role and missing. But yeah, now he seems to be back on board, which I love. And LDU, you're probably shocked why I didn't include him. So when I'm going through and I include all the players, I also look how they're doing in their last 10. I also see how they're doing in their last 3. Obviously, his last 3, he's under 25. But his last 10, he's like averaging 26 posies. When I'm including someone, I really take into consideration how their last 10's going. And Hewitt's averaging like 3 posies more. He's almost in the next bracket, averaging 30. And that 17 is really dragging him down. Without that 17, he would be averaging 30 posies. So I like someone who is just averaging almost into the next bracket. And you'll be able to see it just within this bet. George Hewitt is averaging 30, Daniel like 25, Cherith 25, Sard, you know what I mean? They're all like almost, you can almost bet on them in that next bracket. Almost, you could bet on them for that next bracket. So that's the reasoning for just not including LDU, even though he's green. I just think there's other safer options. Goal scorers, I'm not that bullish on, especially after Dangerfield didn't kick one in his 350th. But yeah, Cam Zerha, I think it's his first miss of the year, and he's the exact same price and form that Danger was. So go for that if you're keen. But anyway, moving on to the Port versus Sydney game. Again, sorry about the timestamps, they're not working. I sent a complaint into YouTube, but I appreciate, I'll just post them in the comment section for the moment. But Port versus Sydney. I haven't updated the odds here. So what does it say here? $3.66. So that should be 3.66. There we go. Okay, so we have Burgoyne, Burton, and Farrell for 15. That's not 20. You can see I've done this a little rushed. Roberts for 20 and Connor Rosie for 25. So I've been a little bit worried about Connor for 25 for a while now, but he's one game off being 10 out of 10 and he's $1.38. I was worried because Connor has been he's been a roller coaster when he's in the mid for 25. He'll get 31 game, 16, 17 the next, but when he's off half back, he's been very consistent. My worry was he was going to get thrown more into the midfield. This was when Hornet was out. This is when Burton and Farrell were back. I'm like, there's no way he stays there. But he has stayed there. He'll come into the mid a little bit, but I think this half-back role has really just boosted his confidence. He's looking great. I'm just maybe a slight I'm a little bit worried. Like he copped some Jordan tag because Jordan will play half forward. Connor Rosie playing half back. Actually, that is worrying me a little bit. That's probably why he's such a good price. Anyway, so I'm bullish on Connor. He's one game off 10 out of 10. Yeah, actually, the Jordan tag is just, I'm second guessing it a little bit. If you were to swap out Connor, you could easily include Hornet or Heaney or Warner, and I'm not that. We'll get to him in a second, but Roberts, I think he's had one miss all year or none at all. Matt Roberts. He's been fantastic. And when players like Nick Blakey or Riley Bice, they've been like hit, miss. He's been super consistent. Yeah, he's had one miss all year, and it was by one posse. So Matt Roberts has been fantastic. Kane Farrell, he's, just hitting after he's came back, but he's 10 out of 10. And I don't usually like doubling up in the same role, but Ryan Burton and Farrell play similar roles. But, again, you can't argue with their recent form. Actually, they'll probably both pop off, I guess, while Connor's maybe being a little held back, but we'll see. Players are still hitting with the James Jordan tag, so it's not... and Jordan's still kicking goals and stuff, so I feel like it's not too bad. Burgoyne there on the wing has been fantastic, averaging like 20 in his last 3. Burton and Burgoyne are at one game away from being 10 out of 10, so yeah, actually they all are. So this bet, all these players could be 10 out of 10 next week. 15 plus, Willem Drew, he's, just trotting along, but, he's averaging like 18 out of his last 10. I could just go Burgoyne and Burton, averaging an extra posse more. Yeah, and Drew will probably just be that light tag, maybe on Goulden or Heaney. Very light, I say. Kane Farrell popping off. Sorry, I'm cautious of time just because I have to head off at 12, or even a bit before that, actually. Goulden, first game back, $1.18, 9 out of 10. I'd really like, because it's probably the best value you'll get for 20, but let's just see how he goes first. First game back, let's just not, he's probably going to have slightly reduced minutes. But then again, I think Amadi's back, Papley's back, Goulden's back. I think there was one more player back. But the point is, yeah, Sydney have a lot to bolster their side this week. Oh yeah, Matt Roberts back from illness, we've actually included, but he's fine. He wasn't out for any, he was just sick. But yeah, I really like Errol Goulden. Hornet came back after a month off hamstring and just absolutely tore it up. He was playing a lot half forward, but he still got 29 posies, so I just don't know how that'll go against Sydney, because I still really rate Sydney. Even though Sydney are, towards the bottom end of the ladder, now they've got a lot of players back to boost them. I don't know. I still think they're a really good side, so yeah, I'm just worried if Hornet is playing more forward line. And who were they versing last week? Was it in the Port game? Port versus Melbourne. Yeah, and Port played really well. So I'm wondering if Hornet just popped off that 29. And plus, I always never like sort of backing players after a huge game. I'd much rather back them after a miss. But anyway. Connor Rosie, Zach Butters. I spoke about Connor. One game off 10 out of 10. Really flourishing back there. And Zach Butters... he actually copped the Viney tag last week and still got 27 posies, so he was fantastic. $1.62. There's probably a bit of worry on the market for him for that Jordan tag, because he's $1.62 when, yeah, he should really pop off in the mid, but yeah, Connor's looking great. Goal scorers, a lot to choose from here. Hayden McLean, 10 out of 10. Tom Papley being back, loves a goal, coming off a miss, but that's not his miss where he got injured. That's off a legit miss. Isaac Heaney could probably play a little bit more half forward now that Goulden's back, just to free him up a bit. But yeah, he'll still likely play a lot of mid. I think Goulden will be more wing, reduced minutes. Will Hayward, I think he's only had one miss this year. Yeah, very consistent. I think he had 7 misses last year. He was maybe 60% or something. This year he's popping off. So yeah, really like Will Hayward, but I just think I would rather go the disposal getters at the moment. All right, moving on to game 5, which is Collingwood versus St Kilda, Saturday night. This one, look at this. Again, Pendles is 1 off 10 out of 10. Wanganeen Miller has had 1 miss this year by 1 posie. I really like the form of these recent players. Cal Wilkie, Jack Crisp for 15. Pendles and Sidebottom, the old boys, for 20, and then Wanganeen Miller for 25. Just a nice little spread, a couple 15, couple 20, and then Wanganeen Miller to finish us off for 25. So really like this one. Yeah, not much more you can say about him. And Wilkie's playing great in defense. Crisp is doing great on the wing. He could easily get 20. but just 15 is a lot more safe. Pendles and Sidebottom, look at that. They're both in the 25 posi bracket category. They've been great. I've obviously not included still Sidebottom's sub game against Freo. I think Pendles also had a sub game to start the year against Port, which I think is almost out of his cycle. Oh, it would have been here because the 19 was against GWS, and still Sidebottom missed against GWS, but that's out of his system. So the old boys for Collingwood have been fantastic, and I think everyone knows that. Well, this should be the case. If Ross Lyon was this, you know, I don't know, egotistical, or he had that tag on Bont for the whole game, even though they're getting pumped, I feel like they're going to have the tag on Dacos. So I just think that leaves a lot more space for Pendles and Sidebottom to just do their thing. And Wanganeen Miller, he has had a head knock and missed the quarter. He's had a rolled ankle and missed half a quarter, and yet he's still hitting 25. So it takes a lot for Windhager to miss. It takes a lot for Wanganeen Miller to miss, and yeah, all the reason to jump on him. In the 15 posi bracket, Dan Houston, yeah, it's hard to justify a Dan Houston or a Bradley Hill when you've got Callum Wilkie and Chris there, 10 out of 10, averaging in the next posi bracket. That's just great value. Windhager, I just never like him as a hard tagger. So yes, he got 16 against Bont. He really had the better of him. But if he's playing his own ball, playing on the wing, I'm more confident on him. But like, his main focus is to just nullify Dacos. The ball is a second priority. So yes, his stats are great and stuff, but I just don't like that. Mason Wood, he is now popping off that he's back on the wing. He had a bit of a stint half forward, and he was getting none of the footy. Since he's been back on the wing, he's just getting over 15. But like I said, I would much rather get someone who's 5 posies ahead of Mason Wood at the moment. Darcy Cameron, I had a look. He's only played St Kilda like once in the last 4 years, and he missed. But so he's always teetering like around 15, 16 posies, averaging 17, going up against Rowan Marshall. I think he'll put in a good performance. I was really tempted to include Cameron. Yeah, very tempting, but it's just hard. Like, how does Cameron beat these guys that I've got here at the moment? So, nothing bad to say about Cameron. Just couldn't include him. Sinclair, good. He's like 2 cents off being a price that I'd just throw in for 20. He just doesn't miss for 20 posies. The old boys I talked about. McRae, not much value. Like, he had a couple of misses this year when he's had attention, but I think he'll hit 20, but I just not that confident on, at that price. Steele, I was hesitant on him now. McRae's back, but he's still hitting. He had a big couple of games without him, but still seems to hit. But I don't know. Jack Steele, when a player for 20 can just go, you know, almost within the span of a month, 16 posies, not great signs. Anyway, that's for me. Jack Steele, look, he's fine. I'm sure a lot of other people like to bet on him. I just didn't really like to see it. Wanganeen Miller, like I said, takes a lot for him to miss, even if he's injured or off the ground for a quarter. Josh Dacos, I've highlighted. He usually pops off when his brother is tagged, which I think will be the case. He's had a couple of misses. He had that stinker at Adelaide Oval. It wasn't against Adelaide. I think it was Gather Round. Had missed by 1 posie 2 weeks ago. Had a 19, bit of a hiccup, but I think Josh Dacos off half back will be instrumental for Collingwood, especially when like Nick Dacos is $1.44. Yeah, I think he's getting tagged, and he's having a quiet year by his standards. Like Nick Dacos, I think maybe he's like 3rd in line for the Brownlow when he's been favourite for like the last year and a half. So anyway, and Sinclair there, 8 out of 10, $1.44. Yeah, I think he's every chance to just get 5-6 posies from kickouts alone, get up the ground, like have just a little run on ball just for a little bit. But yeah, I think Sinclair's great. Goal scorers, Cooper Sharman, I've highlighted, but yeah, don't have much confidence in. A lot of the Collingwood boys are just too short. And you know how St Kilda play. They just love to park the bus, slow down, have a low-scoring game. Even though Doggy's got like 90 points last week, I just think St Kilda's intention is just to keep it low-scoring. Because I don't see them winning this, but I do see them trying to keep it tight and low-scoring because like you just can't get pumped all the time. So I think that's St Kilda's gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of the goal scorers. All right, GWS versus the Gold Coast. So we have Connor Iden, Brendan Fiorini, Took Miller, John Noble, Tom Green, Lockie Ash. Connor Iden has been fantastic. I think he's missed like once, excuse me, in like 2 years. Brendan Fiorini, so he has come back. He's played his last month, and he has just been hitting. So he has been struggling to break into the side. but he's getting a lot of the footy there on the wing for the Suns, and I just think he has to just keep performing because he was kind of just getting into the squad. I think he's got a bit of brownie points now where he's not going to get dropped after a bad game. But yeah, he's looking great, getting a lot of the ball. This miss was from last year by one posi, but yeah, this year he's been great. Averaging 21 in his last 3. I know that's a bit inflated from the 25, but the point is, yeah, he can get that. Took Miller had a very quiet game against Geelong. This was like 2-3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago. But I think he was getting a little bit of attention, so the 20 was a quiet one. So otherwise, hasn't missed all year. In the next posi bracket, I really like that. Johnny Noble, he's been one of my favourites all year. And at GMHBA, when Geelong are on their game, and for a half-backer, usually the switch isn't there because it's a skinnier ground. You can't make the space. The opportunity to take that switch kick isn't there. And I know Zorko popped off last night, but yeah, Brisbane played in a different game style where they were just absolutely just, full throttle, just get it from one end to the other. Gold Coast didn't play that same speed. I can't remember the weather. I'm pretty sure the weather was okay. It was raining a little bit. But anyway, John Noble's allowed to have one bad game, and he was playing a little bit more defensively on close. So, yeah, I'm very bullish on John Noble to bounce back. If he has another stinker, then then I'm worried. But yeah, he's done nothing wrong all year. So yeah, if he's had one bad game, very happy to jump on him again. Tom Green hasn't missed all year, absolute bull. And Lockie Ash, everyone talks about All-Australian half-backers, and I keep leaving Lockie Ash out of the conversation. He is, I don't know, is he not recognised at GWS or just going under the radar? I know Wanganeen Miller has had a fantastic year and Josh Dacos and stuff, but yeah, Lockie Ash is just popping off, averaging 30 posies, 32 in his last almost month. So yeah, I'm riding Lockie Ash until something drastic happens, but he's getting a lot of the footy back there. 15 posies, talked about a lot of these. Harry Himmelberg missed on the wing against the Lions, even though GWS played really well. So I like his role. A wingman should usually get 15, and if he's not playing on the wing, he'll usually go into half back. He doesn't need to go in the forward line at all with Cadman and Hogan popping off. So Harry Himmelberg I like, but yeah, just better choices at the moment. Bodie Yulin coming off a miss, Closey off a miss, playing on the wing. Again, I like the role, should be fine, has an occasional quiet game and usually bounces back. Same with Yulin. Toby Green, I don't like if he's playing more on the forward line, and he shouldn't have to play on ball when Callahan, Green, Kelly's on the wing. But yeah, he should just be playing in the forward line. So 15, I don't like as much for him. Moving on to 20, we have Finn Callahan, who's absolutely just popping off. Speaking of, Took Miller, who I mentioned, Matty Rowell. I do like Matty Rowell. He'll just have spurts where he kind of resorts back to last year's Matty Rowell, where Matty Rowell last year was teetering on low 20s, high teens. He seems to have almost broken out this year into occasional spurts of 25 plus, but Matty Rowell's a contested bull and not necessarily an accumulator. He just has to win at stoppages, and if he's not winning at stoppages, then he doesn't get a lot of the free ball around the ground. So that's the only trade-off with Rowell. That being said, I do like him. But yeah, love Johnny Noble more. Like I said, only had one stinker this year, and I think he'll absolutely just pop off again. I've spoken about these two. Lockie Whitfield, it doesn't really matter. There's been a lot of concern about where he's playing. He's not in his Seagull role. He kind of was last week. He got 33 posies. But yeah, Lockie Whitfield is a great kick. They want the ball in his hands. I feel like, yeah, he should be pretty safe. But Lockie Ash, I'm just more bullish on. He is hungry. Watching him, he wanted the kick outs. If he didn't get the kick outs, he would make space. Lockie Whitfield and Lockie Ash just find each other. So great for them. Noah Anderson I've highlighted, but I know he hit against the Giants last year in his 2 games, but he will most likely cop a Bedford tag. It worked really well when it was O'Connor or went to him last week or last fortnight or their last game. So Noah Anderson can be stopped if he's hard tagged, and so maybe Giants learn from that and just not let him get 30. Finn Callahan is absolutely popping off. He's had a couple of close misses, 24, 24, and 21. So $1.50. He could go out to $1.60 before the bounce. So yeah, really like him. Goal scorers, Jake Riccardi missed. Usually just plays in the ruck a bit and then we'll go down forward. Just great value just when Cadman, Green, Hogan are also short. So I do like that sort of fourth in line goal kicker. Anyway, moving on to our last game for this one, which is Doggies versus Richmond. So again, I haven't placed this. I'm just going to emphasize that. I actually changed this last minute. I'm just going to emphasize that don't place the bet unless it's covered. I haven't got a bonus token thing for this one, so I'm just going to wait until I get another one tomorrow. Who did I include? I took out Hopper. So sorry, sometimes when I organize these bets, I have the players I like and who I think about including, and then I just, cull the list down. So this is where I ended up. Well, it's not $2.24, it's $3.24. Just excuse me. All right, this one you might think is pretty crazy, but Sam Darcy for 15 posies. Absolute beast. Having his best, he's like arguably one of the best forwards in the comp at the moment. One of the best players in the comp. And he has had one miss this year, and it was 12 posies. So those last two were from last year. 7 out of 10. He's versing Richmond, like what, they second last on the ladder, third last, second last, and I think doggies are in red hot form. It's at the roof. I think he's going to get a lot of marking opportunities. He will pinch hit in the ruck. He clunks so many marks. I just feel like, Sam Darcy, $1.64, 7 out of 10. And like I said, he's only had one miss this year, excluding that injury game. So he is just popping off right now. So this is kind of like that bet I was selling for the Carlton game. Like, if I was to include DeConing, I don't have to include all the other certainties. So at this rate as well, I'd rather go Sam Darcy, Ed Richards for 25, and Bont for 20. I only need 3 legs, and I'm at my happy $3 to $4 mark, which is all I need to do. Yes, there's a couple more that I could include, like Joel Frazier for 15, or Riley Sanders, Bailey Williams, all popping off as a little sprinkler to get me to like $4, but I think this is like all you need. Ed Richards has had 2 misses, 23, super close. He has popped off. I know his last ones are relatively close, like bang on at 25, but he's having he's just taking it just a step up every year. Ever since he got out of halfback and moved on ball. Really like Ed Richards, and I think against Richmond, he'll just pop off. Same as Bont. Bont is $1.22. He had 14 last week, but you guys know he was just very hard tagged. That's not happening against Richmond. I think he's just going to do his thing. Same with Ed Richards. Doggies, midfield, always get a lot of the footy, so I just think they're just going to pop off at centre stoppages. And Sam Darcy's going to have plenty of opportunities to kick a goal. So I really like that. But again, haven't placed it. Just got to wait till I get my bonus bet things. That being said, I like Lockie Bramall, especially while there's no Jason Johannesson, but it's doggies versus Richmond. It's kind of like Lockie Bramall doesn't have to aggressively seek the ball. He'll just get it if he beats his opponent, or maybe just occasionally provide an option. But, he doesn't have to do it when Bailey Dale is getting fucking 49 posies or whatever he got the other day. And just averaging 16 and a bit. I kind of want someone who's either averaging well into the next bracket, or Sam Darcy, who's like way better value, averaging almost the same posies. Toby Nankervis, I've highlighted again, but it's just hard when I'm more bullish on Sam Darcy. But I think Nankervis will, he always is pretty close. Tim English is a bit too short for me. That's why I haven't highlighted him, but I think he's every chance to hit. Tim English, I think, does better on athletic ruckman than the big body boys. That being said, 20 plus bracket, Adam Treloar, feasting, just a little bit too short. Tim Taranto Hopper. So Hopper's gone back to $1.20 for 20 plus. I've been bullish on Hopper for 25 posies. Yes, he's going up against like one of the best mids, but I still think he's very good for 20 plus. I bet on him for 25 last week, so it's great that we can get him for a decent price in the 20 posi bracket. So trust me, I would have included him if the bet was a little bit different below, but don't blame me if you include him. Bont bouncing back after that Windhager tag. Dion Prestia, he came back on fire. He just got 21 last week, so there's just, I don't know, something about it where I don't know. I feel like his hamstrings are made of tissue paper or something, so it's hard to include someone who's just so injury prone. But again, if you were, I'd remove the other risky players like Darcy and Ed Richards. 25 plus, Bailey Dale, $1.26, absolutely popping off, but I just think there's better value in and form for Richards and Kennedy. Richards I'm more bullish on just because he's one game off being 9 out of 10, averaging almost a posi more than Matt Kennedy, but I think both are great chances. I like Libber and Treloar too, but don't want to go too hard on all the doggies mid. And their forward line, Lockie McNeil, I think he's great value to kick one. I think, doggies will probably win this by 10 10, 12 plus goals, so I think he's every chance. He had a couple of quiet games and got tax subbed, but he's every chance of getting tax subs, a little small forward in a blowout, or he can either get subbed out in a blowout or if he's underperforming, so there's a bit of a sub risk there. And Riley West, like, we lost his value. We got him last week, which was good, but yeah, $1.10, like, why would you pay that when you could go Lockie McNeil? I know the sub risk and stuff, but much better price. Buku Karmas did get subbed out, I think, a week or two ago. Still kicked a couple. I mean, yeah, he presents good value. I would almost rather go Sean Darcy for 2. I haven't included it, but Buku Karmas, I just don't know how long that forward role lasts. It seems to be... I thought it was going to be gone when Sam Darcy came back, but he's still there. So anyway, the point is just a bit of uncertainty. I'd much rather go... I'd back the players in form at the moment instead of someone who I just not 100% sure where they play or if they get subbed out too. Yeah, anyway, so that's the recap this week. So again, sorry I kept this super short. Oh, where the heck's my webcam gone? Anyway, let me see if I can adjust this. Oh, anyway, let me just go back to the other screen. Webcam is not working. Oh, here we go. Yep. So anyway, let me just say thank you again. Sorry this is super rushed, super short video, but I lost the footage and I'm down in Geelong. So yeah, we'll just whiz through this and then there'll be hopefully a longer one with Jono next week. I'm down in Geelong, so I'm going to catch up with Jono, hopefully get a chance to record, but yeah, just been a bit too busy of late. So yeah, thank you so much guys for tuning in and I'll chat to you next week. All right, peace.